As we are doing a video about Roman Reigns, you know the protocol. We take a step back, we break the fourth wall a little bit, and we send nothing but best wishes and health to the big dog, and we hope he can come back to the squared circle very soon. He can come back and we can just get back to normality, get back to the way that WWE is meant to be. But if we do actually look at the current WWE landscape, ever since he has stepped away, well, it's not very good now, is it? And you could even say a factor in the slump, both in ratings and the fact that house shows have gone down, is because the former Universal Champion had to go away. On top of that, maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns was more important to the WWE than you realized. Why? Here is why. While there was plenty of controversy when it came to Roman Reigns and him filling this role as the top guy, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you straight, I think he did a damn good job with it. Sure, he got booed and roasted by most TV audiences, but that just made him all the more intriguing. Cast your minds back, take that clock, wind it backwards to after WrestleMania 33 when he defeated The Undertaker. He came out on Monday Night Raw and he got heckled and jeered for around about 10 minutes. And he stood there, he took it, he had the most perfect look on his face, and he simply said, "This is my yard now," and he left. It was majestic, and really, when I think about it, one of the best things that has happened on WWE TV for a long ass time. I was going crazy on the old Twitter. I was just enjoying myself. And as always, that's what wrestling's all about. And whatever the reason was for all of that, Roman made it work, and you wouldn't have been able to pull it off if he didn't have this love-hate relationship with the fans. So good or bad, within this time period, I'm chalking it up as a good or an up. And going back to all this stuff about being the top guy or the face of the company or numero uno, yeah, I think he did it well. I can't really explain what I mean by that, but in hindsight, he just had all the qualities, so you can kind of see why the shoe fit. And I know a lot of the audience didn't agree, and that's an argument we can have till the cows come home, but I tell you this, he did a far better job than, say, I don't know, Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal was kind of put in that role to get more over with India, and that was a bust. Absolute bust, didn't work at all, to the point now Jinder Mahal's doing his whole Shanti thing again, which actually I kind of like. It's starting to make me laugh. But when you look at the current WWE scene, everything has dropped since he was forced to walk away, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, no matter what you thought about him, he did have fans. He clearly had fans because we knew he was shifting a lot of merchandise, and when WWE did their never-ending tour, if Roman Reigns on a show, more people would turn up. He was a draw. Now, it wasn't the same as someone like John Cena, but still, he was doing his job. And talking of Cena, I'm sure him segueing into becoming a part-time performer has also been a reason that we've seen this decline, that we've seen this decrease. But I would stick Reigns right in that mix too. The smart mark or the smart fan demographic may have been sick of him, but everybody else, I imagine they quite look forward to seeing Reigns when he strolled through their hometown. I would even go as far to say that I do miss him on Raw these days, especially when the solution seems to have been to take all of Reigns' segments, times that by 72,000, and just insert Baron Corbin into the mix. That's not a slight at Baron either. I think he's actually gone into this GM role and shown he's got the chops to do it, and you kind of want to punch him in the face, which is the whole point. But anybody who had to pick up that much of any TV program, they're gonna suffer. You literally see him every other segment. So we have mentioned the falling ratings and the falling house show numbers, so I'm going to take all the evidence, all the information I have, and distribute it accordingly, because I don't want to be accused of not playing fair. And yes, some of the numbers that came out from WWE in relation to their live shows took into account times when Roman Reigns was still on the road. However, that's when you need to go back and remind yourself what the title of this video is. Because if they've all gone down more, which apparently is the case, then yeah, Roman Reigns was far more important and far more integral to the WWE than we realised, because it went like this. Roman Reigns doing his thing, up here, Roman Reigns leaves, and everything else goes down as well. I'm going to go down too. I'm not saying that he was as big an attraction as someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock, but when you take everything else into the equation, I think you can start to see why Vince McMahon may have held him as high as he did. He was an asset. And now that asset has had to go away, and we're all suffering a little bit, or at least WWE are, from a financial point of view, or a television's rating point of view, or an attendance point of view. The real test will be when we do have a new proper guinea pig to fill this void, and then we can see how they get on. Drew McIntyre certainly seems to be in with a shot, and let's face it, he absolutely deserves it for everything he's done and how he's been performing on Raw. But again, if we get a few weeks down the line, or a few months, or even a year, and it ain't working out, then you've got to go back to the start of the sentence. What do we do next? That's the same for Seth Rollins too. Seth right now probably has more momentum than he ever has done, and he's a babyface in 2018 that people actually like. But if the graphs don't start going up, once again, you've got to move the goalposts. Wrestling is a business whether you like it or not, and you can't forget that. You can't get away with it, because every time a wrestler is interviewed in any kind of guise, they always remind you of that. This is a business. You're in the business. Respect the business. Like it's the only business in the damn world. There is lots of businesses out there. You don't hear Nike coming out going, oh, come join the shoe business. You could also point to the fact that Raw feels rudderless at the moment as another reason why the big dog's absence certainly hasn't been ideal. That's not overly surprising. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that yes, Roman Reigns probably was going to figure quite heavily into WWE plans all the way through to WrestleMania 35, so when he's taken out of that, you've got to reshuffle the deck, you've got to rejig things, you've got to come up with something brand new. Things are always going to suffer as you do have to start booking on the fly, but it still counts, and again it means that Roman Reigns leaving has unarguably made WWE worse, and who would have said that, rightly or wrongly, a few months ago? We all know what the reaction was to Roman Reigns. To be honest, it was getting a little bit boring. If nothing else, and just taking the situation for what it is, yeah, as I said, I miss good old Roman Reigns. I miss the aura and the craziness he brought to my Monday night television programming. I mean, I don't mean necessarily his constant Superman punches, but I always thought he was a little bit hard done by. And now, when somebody walks down the aisle, more or less, I know how they're going to get cheered or booed or whatever, unless you're Becky Lynch or Charlotte or Asuka. That's a whole situation unto itself. But Roman always brought something different. I like it when things are different. It was like playing the lottery, quite oddly, but you never knew what you were going to get. Sometimes you went to like Pittsburgh and got cheered, and then he'd be in, I don't know, Alabama, and he was getting booed. You couldn't keep up. It was crazy town. And it's not like anybody else has been allowed to step up to the plate, maybe other than Rollins, who apparently has been earmarked for the Brock Lesnar spot at next year's WrestleMania. So all these people that are like, oh, we can see what's going to happen now. Well, nothing's happened. WWE doesn't know what to do because this coming. They weren't ready for it. So it sucks. Hopefully Reigns is recovering well and will be back sooner rather than later. Then we can kind of take stock of all of this and see how it falls out after that, because we have a completely different dynamic when he does return, and that is going to affect everybody on the roster, which again is going to make things more exciting. But I imagine we'll all be pleased to see him back, and that is not something to sniff your nose at. I mean, it would be much better if we didn't have to have real life tragic events get in the way of our sports entertainment before we realised what we should care about. But look, no matter how you get to the ending, it's getting to the end that counts, and we're here now. We can use this information to hopefully be a bit more positive and a bit more smiley as we continue on down the months, years, days, millenniums, centuries, other words you can throw in there at your own disposal. So there it is, Roman Reigns, far more integral to the WWE process than I'm sure a lot of people realise. I mean, there is another issue to this, that WWE absolutely needs to start building new stars, but that can be another topic for another video. We can just go through them one by one and try and figure out if they do well or not. In fact, we can do that quickly right now. Seth Rollins, probably be quite good. As we mentioned, same with Drew McIntyre. He's got all the skills. Bobby Lashley, not really going to fit, in that kind of a mold, especially because WWE don't really book him in the way that he should be booked. But look, he's still cool. He can be an upper mid-card guy. That's fine. Braun Strowman, there's an argument there because some people say, look at Braun. He's big, he's massive, he's exciting. But also, is he too one-dimensional to be the face of the company? That's something you've got to think about, something you've got to put through your brain and come out your ear. And then there's Rusev. Let's not stay on Raw. Let's look at SmackDown as well. And never forget that Rusev is the most underrated guy in the company. He's never truly been given his shot. But maybe now we can do that. We can take AJ Styles' name, and if it was 2008, I actually think he'd get this role. But given that he is 41, I can understand why Vince McMahon would want someone who has a few more years left on the clock. That's all right, I get it, and that's just how this stuff works. I'd always want to see Samoa Joe do more, but that ain't gonna happen. And Shinsuke Nakamura doesn't even turn up on television. Not his fault again. That's the way he's being treated. So we can take that name and throw it over there. And let's be smart with this as well. I understand that you want a top guy in the company, but we also have the argument that we could completely switch to the women right now. Ronda Rousey, she's doing pretty well. Charlotte, she stepped up. And of course, there's Becky Lynch. If you ask me, if you want to have someone who's going to stand tall over everybody else, why not make it Becky Lynch? I actually think Becky Lynch may lose the title at TLC, and then we all have to go crazy. I don't want it to happen. That's just my worry. But honestly, we're talking about the next face of the company. Man, woman, we can do that. We're allowed. I'd make it Becky damn Lynch. Or whatever. If you can't think of anything else, you know what to do. You give a call down to Florida. You say, Triple H, would you like to come back? Triple H, he could be the world champion. He can be the WWE champion. He can be the Universal champion, IC champ, Women's champ for Raw and SmackDown, tag team champs, cruiserweight champ. Just give all the belts to Triple H. It worked before. Why can't it work again? Hashtag make Triple H the face of the company 2019. I'm glad we've all come to this conclusion, and I'm always happy you'll watch my lovely little videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. Roll those end credits. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Roman Reigns, Raw, and who should be the face of the company, and if maybe Roman was more integral to proceedings than you realise. Like, share, and subscribe. Then head on over to WhatCulture.com. You can read more articles like this. Look around WhatCulture Wrestling here on YouTube, click some videos, and follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And again, I always like to stress this, and you probably think, Simon, you overdo it. Whatever. I don't care. I go with my gut. I go with my moral instincts. Roman Reigns, get better soon. That is all that matters throughout all of wrestling, be that WWE, Indies, Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, whatever. You're dealing with a real life situation, and real life is 1,000 times more important than anything that happens in the squared circle. So that's it. We're done. Thank you also for watching another episode of the Y series. Go watch some more. You can do that. You have the power. And I'm looking forward to seeing all your smiling faces, all you happy souls, very, very soon.
Violent energy.